So you came back for a little bit more like Canine Bitchley. We're right on. Edge and I were being picked up by two sisters, Susan and Sandy, in a smoking hot candy apple red 1966 convertible Mustang. And let me tell you, you could hear the fellas hooping and hollering. Like, what the hell is that? And I was like, it's right, gentlemen. You don't worry about it. It's for me and Edge, and we're on our way. So, we rolled over to the door and opened up the passenger door. There was one of them sitting in the front, one sitting in the back. I went ahead and pulled the seat forward, jumped in back. I figured Big Edge is, 6'5", 6'10", something crazy. He'll probably need that leg room, So I went ahead and jumped in the back. Big Edge jumped in the front, shut the door. We pulled off. We could still hear them kids hollering. It's like, that's right, gentlemen, be jealous. So we went ahead and sped out of there, and we started making a little bit of that small talk, I turned over to her. I was like, baby, I'm sorry, but which one are you again? And she says, well, I'm Susan. I was like, right on, I'm Canine. She goes, oh, I know which one you are. Me and my sister were talking about which one we liked on the way over, and you gentlemen took the correct seats. And I was like, oh, right on, can't beat that. So where's this bonfire that you was talking to us about? They said, well, we were going to leave that up to you two. And I was like, okay, what's up? They're like, well, we could either go to this bonfire, or we could just go over to our house, since our parents are out of town for the weekend, and we could just party there. I was like, yeah. Well, same conversation must have been happening up in that front seat, because right about then, old Edge turned his head back, looked at me, and I was like, house? And he's like, house. So I looked over at Susan, and I said, house it is. And then off we went, headed off to this house. Well, on the way out there, she started letting me know that it was actually a ranch. And I was like, wow, a ranch? And they were like, yeah. My dad does this ranch thing, and he has a pretty good sized house, and he's out of town on business with my mom, and so that's why we got the weekend by ourselves. I was like, wow, crazy. And I'll tell you what was crazy is Job Corps, now it's out in the middle of nowhere, but this place, it's out where the chickens and the hoot owls get it on, let me tell you. Because it took like an hour and 15 minutes to get out there, and after about that first half hour, you didn't see nothing, let me tell you. Come on. And so we, had a little small talk, as we drove up towards the house, and it was dark, so I couldn't really tell you about any barns or ranch or anything like that. But the house itself, kawah, it was off the kazizzle. It looked like a mansion, let me tell you. Oh man, Canine ain't never been in nothing like that at all. Anyway, we pulled up that fabulous bad boy, get out of the car, walk inside, and there wasn't much intermingling, let me tell you, because once we hit the door, Sandy grabbed Edge by the hand and headed off one way, and Susan grabbed me by the hand and headed off another way. And I'll tell you what, it was like walking through a maze of this house. Anyway, ended up entering through this bedroom, huge bedroom. I was like, damn, man, your parents have a hell of a master suite. She's like, oh, this is not my parents' room, this is my room. My parents' room is twice the size of this. I was like, wow, wow. So I was like, okay, so you said you had a ranch. What kind of ranch? I mean, what do you do, cows or something like that? And she's like, pretty close. My dad sells champion prize bull sperm. I was like, champion bull sperm. And she goes, oh yeah, it's very expensive, it's very lucrative business. I couldn't help it. I had to bust out laughing. I was like, oh my God, baby. I'm sorry. I hate to be like this, Susan. I'm sorry, but wow. I don't think I've ever seen a beautiful woman like you ever say the word sperm, number one, and I've never really heard of a sperm ranch either. Sorry, I don't mean any disrespect, all right, and it looks like you all do well, so like I said, I don't mean any disrespect. And she said, oh, was that right? And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. She sits down on the bed, and she does a little pat on the side of the bed and says, well, come over here and sit down next to me. So I come over there and sat down next to her, and she says, so tell me some other things that pretty girls or pretty women haven't told you before. And I said, well, turn the page.